Okay, so welcome everybody to our fall 2025 semester of the Ollie program, and we are here to discover and learn more about near-death experiences and spiritually transformative experiences. And my name is Catherine Chappie, and I'm so happy to be part of these groups and to have found out about the Ollie program last spring. And I'm so happy that you're all here. And today we have a wonderful guest, and his name is Joshua Zuchter. I hope I said that right.
Perfect.
Okay. And I met Joshua at the International Association for Near Death Studies 50th anniversary conference just about 2 weeks ago. And it was a huge celebration. So many people were there that are experiencers of all different kinds of spiritually transformative experiences. And we had three of the main that started up IANS 50 years ago that were there. And it was wonderful. And I had the pleasure of meeting Joshua, and we had some nice discussions. And I just was so happy that he decided to come here and share his journey with us and his wisdom and what he's learned over his lifetime. So I want to introduce Joshua Zuchter, and I want to say thank you so much for being here.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Nice to meet all of you. It was so wonderful to meet Catherine. I had seen her 2 years ago at the IANS conference. She was speaking on a panel, and um, I resonated with much of what she was sharing. And then last year, I think it was right near the second last day or so, I saw her on her own, and it was a perfect time for me to come over and let her know I loved your talk last year. And then we had a profound 2.5 hour conversation, I think, that night. And here we all are. So thank you for having me on this first episode or show. Yeah, thank you.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Thank you for being here.
Thank you. Well, I'd like to maybe start off with a story of what happened after the conference. So this is a profound experience that I had, and it's an example of experiences I'm sure we've all had throughout our lives, but this really stands out because it just happened, and it's humorous on the fact that it happened after the conference, on the day after. So everyone had pretty much left, and I went downtown Chicago. I'd never been to Chicago before. And so I went downtown with a friend, and we were walking around downtown. And um, after a couple of hours, she decided she needed to use the bathroom, and this part of the story. And then God said to me, "Go to the lemonade stand." So I went to this lemonade stand, and I'm thinking, on my way to the lemonade stand, I've had lemonade in Toronto. What is the big deal about the lemonade at the stand? And I was curious what was about to occur, but I knew within me that something significant was going to occur. I just didn't know what it was. And so I lined up after two people, and as I'm standing there, a person comes up from behind me and he says, "Are you wearing cologne?" And I turned around, and it was a 6'2" purest hearted being. He was likely on the spectrum, and I knew in that moment that he was sensitive to smells, fragrances. And so I began to joke with him, and I knew that this was the reason why I was here, even though I had no idea what was going to happen. And I said, "I'm not wearing cologne. Are you wearing cologne?" As a joke, because obviously he's affected, so he's not wearing cologne. And he said, "No." And then I said, "And what are you getting here?" Obviously he's getting lemonade. He said, I'm getting lemonade." And then I asked him what his name was, and his name was Angel. And in that moment, I went into this profound state of grace and gratitude, knowing that God sent me to this lemonade stand to put an angel figuratively and literally right behind me. And I've never heard of a male, especially named Angel. Maybe there are a ton of them, but I've not met any before. And I was just in this profound state of grace of this happening. And of course, I bought him a lemonade. and and then we spoke for a few moments, and then he left. And then I went over to the side, drank my lemonade, cried, drank my lemonade, cried, and finished my lemonade. And then my friend came back. She missed the whole thing. And this may seem like an inconsequential thing, but to me in that moment, it was equivalent to any profound experience I've ever had. And I've had countless.
Yeah.
Um, so there I was with an angel behind me at a lemonade stand. And I was guided to that experience. So the whole thing was profound. So that kind of starts off our basic example of what we might call intuition or connection or alignment. So to start off my story, I was born the way you hear me now. So I was God aware since I was born. Um, I was as mature as I am now. So I didn't connect with other kids at all for the first like 14 years of my life. I connected more with adults. And even many adults were, for lack of better words, immature compared to what I, in my mind was. So, let's say I was a baby going on 85. And so, um, so I started aware and I assumed everyone was like me, and it turned out no one was like me. And so that led to some interesting challenges throughout my life. And of course, profound beauties, which I'm going to share some as we continue. Um, I am wondering here, just by show of hands, no need to go on, take yourself off mute, but is if I use the word God here or source, who's okay with that? Everyone okay with that? Yeah? Everyone okay with that? Okay, great.
Yep.
It looks like most people are fine with that.
I use those words interchangeably. And so we're going to go into several of my experiences related to that. But that's really how I started life. And then throughout life, I've had thousands of what are known as spiritually transformative experiences. Thousands. So I have them virtually on a daily basis, at least one, if not many. To me, it's normal, just life. That's just how life is. And so I feel blessed that I have those. Most people may have, let's say, 5 or 6 over a lifetime that are, deeply meaningful. And there's pros and cons to being born that way. And uh, one of the pros is awareness, and one of the cons is awareness. So, uh, I'm happy to speak to that more as we continue. I'll share a few more really interesting examples. When I was, maybe about 20, 25 years ago, I had heard about the idea of a soul agreement or a soul contract, and I had never experienced what that was. So I thought it was maybe just kind of egotistically made up, that it wasn't really a thing. And then in 2008, I was exercising one day. This is one of the most profound of all of these STEs. I was exercising, watching a movie called August Rush, which I highly recommend. It's a gorgeous film. And in the film, it's about a boy who comes to discover a mentor who's like a father figure. And it was reminding me a little bit of the bitterness that I had between me and my own father. And as I was watching this film and exercising, something started moving up my chest, coming up. I didn't know what that was. And then all of a sudden, as it came, I actually had a memory. It was a 1 second experience. I had a memory of before I came into physical life of my father, his soul, and my soul agreeing that he would be my father, I would be his son, and he would be aware of my hatred towards him for the first 18 years of my life every day. And essentially, he would, for lack of better words, sacrifice himself. That's not the best way to say it, but let's say it that way. And in that moment when that came up, I had this profound release of shame, embarrassment. I felt terrible that I had treated him so awfully, and here he was agreeing to support me into what I'm here to accomplish in this life. And I treated him so poorly and felt towards him so poorly. And I think I probably was sobbing uncontrollably for 5 or 10 minutes. And then I became aware that we all have soul agreements, every single one of us. We all have soul agreements. You agreed you'd show up in this Zoom. I agreed I'd show up and share some of my story. Um, and because we're all one, everyone that you are connected to, and everyone they're connected to, and everyone I'm connected to, which means all of us, all chose for this experience to occur. And so that has been my awareness ever since then. And interestingly, I hadn't spoken with my dad in 3 weeks, and that day he called me. And when he called, I said, next time you're in Toronto, he lives a couple hours away. I want to take you out for lunch. So we ended up going out for lunch a few weeks later, and I let my dad know that I realized how much his soul cared for me. And I've never seen my dad cry in 35 years until that day. And so my release became his release. And there was no one that I respected more on earth than him after having that experience. It showed me also that relationships can be completely purified and cleared in a millisecond. It
Mhm.
doesn't have to take years or decades. It can happen that way. So that's another example of one of the more profound STEs that I've had. Um, Another one would be probably a constant. So many near-death experiences report when they transition and come back that they have a review on the other side. So they go through this life review where they see every second of their life and they feel how all of those individuals felt who they interacted with and how all those people that were connected to them were affected. And so I mention this because I live that every second of this life. So I generally feel how all of you feel right now. And I've been like that my whole life. To me, it's very normal and natural. Apparently, that's not the norm. But at least for me, that has been how it's always been. So I'm able to utilize that skill and help people, which is what I've been doing for the better part of 25 years in my coaching practice. So those are a few quick examples of what it's like to be me. I'm actually not used to talking about me this much, to be frank. I generally, when I give workshops, I never talk about me because I already know about me. But I know that the purpose of this is to share some of who I am or what I'm about in some way. So here we are. Um, and so I have many, 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 many more stories. And I think I might ask Catherine, should I keep going? How do you want to do questions? Do you want to intersperse it? Because I'm sure people might have questions.
Yeah. Well, I'm curious about. I like to go back in time a little bit and just ask. I know you were aware at from very young age, and looking back now, what were the pivotal, like some of the pivotal moments that kind of helped you um, to understand what you would be doing on your journey? So, is there anything that kind of sticks out as far as maybe you didn't realize at the time, but now looking back and seeing where you've gone with all of this? And then I'd like you to tell us too what you do in the world so that people can understand how it all connects. Okay.
Okay. And I've quite a bit more to share, but I thought I'd pause it and hear from everyone. So pivotal moments, I mean that one with the soul agreements was a big one.
Mhm.
But in terms of, you know, so along with being aware when I was born came with it these natural capabilities that we all have, but most people shut them down. I did not shut them down. So I could see spirits easily. I could feel them. Um, There's another movie. I've loved movies, and so I'll recommend another movie, a really fun movie, action film, if you like action films, called Next. Nicolas Cage is the actor in it. And so when I was 6, I remember playing dodgeball in school. Has anyone here played dodgeball before?
Sure.
Or at least you've seen Dodgeball, maybe seen the cheesy, funny, hilarious movie. So we've played a rendition of Dodgeball where there was one person on the outside of a square, and you have all the kids in the center of the square. And the one person on the outside would throw the ball and hit someone, and whoever it hits, they would be knocked out and they would leave. I was always the last person to get hit on the inside of the square, because I could see where the ball was going to be thrown before it was thrown. So I'd get out of the way before it was thrown. In fact, there were times where my back was to the individuals and I could see where it was going to be. I'd jump in the air while my back was to the person. And to me, I didn't think anything of this. I just thought this was normal. It was happening internally. I didn't have any thought. And then in my mid years, I realized Wayne Gretzky, well-known Canadian hockey player, he always said that he would skate to where the puck is going to be. But no one ever said, well, how do you know where the puck's going to be? We just took it for granted that he just had this foresight. But this was a natural part of my life. And in the movie Next, it actually shows this in a sublime visual way. It's a little bit Hollywoodish, but it's actually pretty accurate. So that kind of capability was there. I used it in dodgeball and tennis, and then I really hadn't used it for anything else until I started coaching clients. And one day I was speaking with a client, and as she was telling me her story, all of a sudden I saw everything that was going on, as if you were video recording her life and you plot me into it, and I could fast forward it and rewind it, move it around 360 degrees. And so I
Mhm.
could see everything going on. I started explaining to her what was going on there, and she was shocked, and I was shocked because I had not done that before. So when I began coaching, I began kind of strengthening some of these abilities for the benefit of humanity. And so that's an example of one of those capabilities that we all have. And by the way, we can all turn them on at any time. It's not just limited to someone who's always had it. Um, when I again another movie story, but when I was 1978, I was 4, and this movie Superman came out, and I remember watching this film and realizing we are absolutely capable of this. And I just knew that as a child. I didn't have any thought about it, and I was a mature child, so that really was kind of a catalyst for me in my life of reminding me that I'm here to support the planet in a significant way. And so that's an example of a very significant moment for me. I have many different kind of wild experiences. Like for example, three months ago or 2 months ago, I woke up and I was in 3 different dimensions. So I woke up and I'm looking at my ceiling, and then I closed my eyes and I was in a desert. And I was also simultaneously on a ship, looking through some kind of glass. And so then I opened my eyes again, thinking, what is going on? And I said, holy shit, because I had to tell myself that I was awake. And then I closed my eyes to try to grab on to where I was, and it just started sliding away. This is a very
Mhm.
unusual, bizarre capability, and I never experienced that before. So there's always new ones opening up.
Mhm.
And so that's another example of kind of an unusual one. I think one of the more important experiences I would like to share is back in the year 2000, I found out about Esther and Jerry Hicks, Abraham Hicks. Has anyone heard of Abraham Hicks' law of attraction? Anyone familiar with them at all?
Let me just see who's anyone raising their hand. I don't see.
No, never heard of it. Never heard of them. Abraham Hicks' law of attraction. Okay. So I highly, 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 highly recommend beginning to research Abraham Hicks' Law of Attraction. The best book on creating the life that we desire is called Ask and It Is Given. And
Mm.
it was written by Esther and Jerry Hicks, who channel Abraham. In the year 2000, I discovered Abraham's material and I began reading through all their books, listening to their tapes. You all remember tapes back then in the year 2000. And I was committed for a year. And then something in me said to let go because I was started to give workshops at the time, and I didn't want their information to influence what I was teaching. So I let it go, and then eventually it took me until 2017, where something in me awakened and decided that I was going to return to their material and commit to these principles that they were teaching. So I did an out loud exercise for 10 minutes talking about abundance and prosperity. And I got into the highest mental, emotional, vibrational state I'd ever experienced. And in that moment was inspired to go to my emails and clear my emails. I had a lot in my inbox. I found these two emails from the same person named Helen. I hadn't spoken with her in 3 years. I knew immediately to call her I had no idea why. It was like the lemonade stand. I called her. Within 10 minutes, she's telling me about Bitcoin. And I knew in that moment that, and by the way, I never told her that I had been doing a 10-minute exercise on abundance of prosperity. She didn't know that.
What
So
is
I knew,
what is the name of that exercise?
I call it an Abraham Rampage,
Okay.
Rampage. You can just type in on YouTube, Abraham Rampage Money, Abraham Rampage Romance, Abraham Rampage Peace, Abraham, whatever it is.
Okay, great.
And so within 7 months, I was semi-retired. Um, and I came from a family where money was difficult. So in my first year of business, I was evicted after my first year, had to figure out how to do all of that, how to get through that. And came from a family where my mother always spent, my dad always saved. And so we had many times where we were just eating basics like rice for dinner and lunch, cheese sandwiches, and so on. And then there were times where we were close to millionaires, not really quite there, and but my family didn't know how to sustain it. So I picked up my mother's qualities, my sister picked up my father's qualities. And so it took me years for me to figure that out until 2000. Now I was fine as a coach. I was six figures and it was great, but I still had debt. But in 2017, my whole existence changed. Not only did I find abundance, true abundance, which is not only wealth, I found no more aging and reversing aging. So I had been working with my clients over the years on health and nutrition as well. But all of a sudden, I discovered how to reverse virtually every aspect of aging. And that was 8 years ago. So you can just imagine where we are now compared to 8 years ago. So I went into a slight hermit state. Um, there are many people that when they have near death and they come back, they become highly sensitive to other people and energies around them. But for me, because I was born that way, I never had any issue with that. So I was kind of lucky that I love being around lots of people, tons of people. I love it. And so for me, I've never been affected that way. But with that being said, in 2017, by the end of that year, I decided I'm going to go on a sabbatical, pause my coaching practice, and maybe just hang out on my own for a while. Uh, I needed a bit of a reset, and I thought it would take me a year. So I went away for a week, and after a week, I was reset. It only took me a week. I didn't need a year. So I was back to coaching it. All my clients thought I was gone. They were prepared emotionally, mentally that I was gone for at least a year. So it took me about 6 months to rebuild my practice, and then it was good. Back to full-time coaching, giving workshops around the world. I've had clients in over 15 countries. I've given thousands of workshops. I've coached thousands of people. And the majority of it is about law of attraction, consciousness, how to access and understand who we really are. And so that's really the basis of kind of my work history, so to speak, and where I am today.
Wow. Oof. Okay. I jotted a few things down. Are you ready for some questions? Because I
I'm
have
ready.
do have a few. All right. So you talked about, let me see, what did I wrote down here? Okay. You talked about when you were involved in sports as a kid, right? And you knew where the ball was going before it got there. All right. So it kind of when that happens to you, because I know that people have different senses of awareness, right? So people have different abilities, natural abilities. Okay. Some people are more visual, so they'll kind of get something in their mind's eye. Other people get just a knowing, or they get or they'll maybe hear, So how did it come through for you of where the ball was going to be?
So there are four main, I call them communication behavioral learning styles. There's four. So, and you covered them right there. So nice work. So I'll give different terms for them. So we've got, in no particular order, knowing,
Mhm,
which you may have heard claircognizance.
mhm,
The one you know most is probably clairvoyant, which is visual.
right.
There is clairaudient, which is auditory. And then there's clairsentient, which is feeling.
Mhm,
So I have all four.
mhm,
And so it happens differently every time. I don't necessarily control it. I know that my soul, God, controls it, so I don't actually have to do much. I just trust and go with it. It's very natural for me.
right.
When I would see the ball, that was seeing the ball for sure.
Mhm,
Anything that was related to physicality would have been seeing it.
mhm,
Um, I also hear quite a bit. So I've heard, I hear God source speaking to me all the time. And I'll share some examples so you can hear that it's not normal language either. I had given in 2003, I'd given a workshop and there was a mega issue with the person who was hosting and her son's girlfriend was there and they were having some kind of, tiff. And but it went pretty extreme and I was shocked and I ended up staying for like 3 hours one night trying to mediate and I ended up driving home late in the night and I couldn't fall asleep and normally I can fall asleep really easily. I couldn't fall asleep. I eventually fell asleep and when I woke, um, the universe spoke to me and said, cast your judgments aside, for you have attracted the light of God into your life through all beings that are manifest. So
mhm.
this is obviously not typical English, at least that I'm aware, I'm familiar with. And so I immediately wanted to call the mother and tell her this and say, cast your judgments aside about your son's daughter. And then the universe said, it's for you, not for her. So I was like, okay, okay. Got it, got it. Because I was in judgment about her being in judgment about her son's girlfriend. Anyhow, that's an example of hearing.
Mhm.
When I was younger, my parents owned their own company, and I always knew what their finances were going to be like. I would know how much money was coming in on a weekly basis, and I as a 14-year-old had my own tracking system on my accuracy of how much money was coming in, and way to amuse myself. And then feeling is one of my favorites, to be honest, because the feeling nature is the one that is unseen and the most, we use it so much, and yet we don't realize that we use it. So right now, you're looking at me, you see I shave my head, you see I have a blue top on. This is a very easy visual, but do you actually feel me? Do you feel how I feel? Can you feel that? I can feel how you feel
Yeah.
right now, Alice. I can feel it. And so that is a natural way that we are. We're born that way, and most of us turn it off over time. For
Mm.
me, I kept utilizing those abilities. I was a bit hard-headed, so to speak. Tenacious is a better way to say it. And because I was so mature, I didn't let my parents tell me what to do on virtually anything, which was brutal for them. But that was how it was. So we utilize these four, and I do utilize all four. And when I'm speaking with someone, helping them, I can tell where they're holding energy in their body. I can feel their chakras. I can feel their energy field. I can feel whether they expand or collapse their energy. I don't have to see you. You could tell me about a friend. I could tell you all about your friend. So it's pretty fascinating.
Mm. Wow. Thank you. Thank you for explaining that. And um, another thing, let me just see some of my notes here.
I
Um,
do want to add,
yeah,
when I share these things about myself, by the way, I hope it doesn't come across as boasting to anyone here. I like to use this as like to use myself as an example
right.
rather than anything extraordinary. We are all extraordinary. But I just happen to be an example of someone who's utilizing these abilities, and we all can do it,
Right.
100%.
Absolutely. Absolutely agreed. And
Hello,
I've,
hi,
I've, I've, who is that? I'm sorry.
it's Alice. I'm
Okay.
wondering, hi, I'm
Yeah.
wondering, are you exhausted all the time from all of this?
That's a great question. I believe it or not, never get tired.
Wow.
So let me share a couple things about that's a great question. One, I think a part of it is because I've been like this since I was born, so it's normal for me. But I am going to add that when I work with my clients, I teach them one very useful thing about getting tired or exhausted. Has anyone here heard of the term energy vampires? Has anyone heard of that
Yeah.
concept? People that suck your energy, so to speak.
Absolutely.
Yeah. I actually see it in a completely different way. And the
Mhm.
way I see it is there's no such thing. What it is I'm the one giving my energy away, not someone taking it. So it's always about me managing my energy as opposed to someone else. So I like
Okay.
to kind of own the energy field that I'm in and say, if I'm tired, if I'm exhausted, it means one of three things. One, I'm pushing too much. I'm trying to make something happen, trying to get someone to see something. Number two, I'm trying to pull someone with me, which is not usually a great idea, although we all love everyone, can't pull
Mhm.
everyone with us.
Mhm.
Um, and number three means I am resisting in some way how someone else is showing up. So that means if someone else is showing up in a negative way and I resist that and I somehow try to stop that, I will be using up my own energy. So I realize that that's not for me to do. I just allow them to be as they are, and then I don't use up my own energy. So those are the three ways in which we can get tired. And I've never heard anyone teach that before. So I share it with all my clients so that they're aware of it. So I call it good energy hygiene.
Yeah, that's great. That's great. I love that.
Hmm.
Um, so does anybody else have a question? Do you guys want to put your hand up if you have a question, and that'll put you in the top left-hand corner?
And I also have some questions.
Okay. Well, my question is this: how can people start to develop a stronger sense of these abilities that we're all born with, right? And I believe we've been told, we've been programmed to believe that, these things are out there or not true, not real. But people that want to discover that more within themselves, what can they do to start to utilize those abilities within themselves?
We can do some fun exercises here, and if everyone's open to, and you don't have to be vocal, I'm happy to lead you through some exercises. Although I love having someone volunteer and showing how it's done. And these are what I call vibration alignment exercises. The purpose of these exercises is to increase your state of emotion so that you're feeling better and better and better. The phrase that I love, one of the phrases I love from Abraham Hicks is, the better you feel, the more you allow what you want into your life.
Mm.
And that includes abilities, our natural abilities. Has anyone here ever, used the shower, gone into the shower, and then you had insights while you were in the shower? It's pretty common, actually. A lot of people have their insights in the shower. And why is that? Because in the shower, they feel soothed and warm and cozy, and they're kind of a little bit more elevated. Um, but you don't have to be in the shower to become elevated. You're obviously, we can actually elevate ourselves now, and we can go, because we are infinite beings, we actually can go to infinite degrees. So when I work with clients now, we'll do a couple exercises together. I'm not exaggerating when I say 20-second manifestations. So if you think about something that you want in life, and you do, let's say, a vibration alignment exercise like the rampage, and then in 20 seconds, the thing that you want shows up. I've had countless of those. In fact, in 2017, I also began counting those because I was so shocked every time they would happen. So I counted to maybe almost 100, and I realized, okay, I just stopped counting because I'm not going to track after that. But to have something show up that you desire, it changes how you understand this whole non-real universe. So
Can I ask about the rampage? So you said you do it for 20 seconds, and then you would track how it showed up. What was the time span for this to show up? Were there different variations in the time span?
yeah.
2 hours later, you go to the mailbox and boom, there's, a check in the mail that you didn't expect. But maybe 4 weeks down the road, something happened. But how would you know it was directly related to the rampage you did 4 weeks ago?
When it happens in 20 seconds, you realize, right? So let's say, for example, would anyone like to volunteer an example?
Let's
Who would like
see.
to volunteer? Something that you would love to have in life show up.
We
What
have
is that, Beth?
No.
Nope. Okay. Okay.
no volunteers, huh?
Just
Oh,
something you like. What would you like? What would be nice to have? What would be nice?
anybody?
I'm going to hang out here until someone says something.
Come on, we need a brave person.
What's something you'd like?
I mean, you're not talking about, I wish I had $1 million.
It could be.
Well, that's silly.
Let's start with it, though. Let's start with it, okay? So that it seems silly, but let's start with it. So I'll tell you a story about $1 million. I was in New Mexico. I was a part of a book compilation, getting an award for this thing, and there was maybe about 100 of us at this conference, and it was in New Mexico at during the balloon festival.
Levaquin antibiotic capsule.
And when we were there, we went out for lunch, but there was 3 people that stayed in the room. So the rest of us went for lunch. It was like an hour and a half, 2-hour lunch. And the 3 that stayed in the room, when we got back, it turned out that some well-known, wealthy singer happened to come into that room, and he gave $1 million checks to each of those 3 individuals. And this is true story. And we just went into shock. We couldn't believe, no one could believe what happened. And this is something you hear about in movies, or you hear about in, it just. So I just want to say, be open, be open.
Yeah.
It sounds out there,
Mm.
but if you can be open, there's a greater chance that some of these opportunities will find us.
Wow.
And we don't have to go to $1 million. We could go to less even. I'll use an example of my own practice, coaching practice. So I had like a dry, time with my practice. So I had a full practice, but no one had been signing up with me, and I wasn't gonna. I'm not the kind of person that markets. I'm not a big fan of marketing for myself, as you can tell in my current website, which is about from 2013, and and I'm not on social media barely either. So I I was thinking, I've got to shift my wealth here, and I definitely absolutely will not depend on my clients for this. So I did some exercises very similar um, to the ones in 2017. And as I started doing this exercise, literally within 20 seconds, I had someone call me, say, Joshua, it's me, Kim, and we were together at the workshop the other day, and I would like to hire you. And that was the first time a 20-second manifestation happened. It was 20 seconds.
Wow.
And now here's what happened. This is the interesting part. So we hung up and nothing happened. So there was no hiring, there was none of that occurred. And so I thought, okay, this is not exactly as I thought. So a week later, I decided to do this again. She called me again within 20 seconds. That was the second time, same person. And within 3 hours, she had already transferred me the funds for coaching, and she was someone I really was excited to work with anyway as a client. And so that's an example of a 20-second manifestation. Working with me for 4 months is, let's say back then was $3,500. So that was $3,500 manifest in literally 20 seconds, or a week if you want to use the week. So is that even possible? Well, it happened.
Wow.
I've had many, since then I've had countless hundreds of those. And not just with money, but with people, with my physical body, with virtually every topic you can think of.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Wow. Wow.
I do want to ask my own question, if that's okay.
Sure.
If everyone could take yourselves off mute as long as there's no noise around you, I'd love to hear from you and hear what inspired you to come today. Why are you here? What were you wanting to find out or gain or discover or learn? Who'd like to share? I might call on you if I don't see anyone do this, and you're welcome to pass. Okay,
Thank you.
Beth, and then Alice.
I thought it sounded interesting. I thought the concept of learning something about your mind and transforming you in some way, you're never too old to learn.
Nice. Love it. And would you be willing to be a volunteer for an exercise we'll do together?
Sure.
Okay. So, Alice, I'm coming back to you in a sec, okay?
No problem.
Okay, so Beth, if you could finish off this sentence, I am free to feel ... Start with that. I am free to feel.
I am free to feel happy.
Keep going. I'm free to feel.
I am free to feel free of guilt,
Good.
free of
Guilt-free.
obligation, free
I am
of,
free. I am free to feel. Say, I am free to feel.
I am free to feel optimistic.
And hold that. Hold that. I want to show you something. So when you do that, we want you to actually feel optimistic. So when you say it, it's perfect, and then take a few moments to see if you can feel what it feels like.
I am free to feel optimistic.
And just slow down on that. Very good. Nice. I could feel it. Yeah. Keep going. I am free to feel.
I am free to feel. I thought I did pretty well so far.
You did. You're doing great.
Um,
Two more.
two more.
Yeah.
I'm free to feel pain-free.
Mm,
Wow.
Can
And
you do
and
that?
if we use a different word than pain, it would just, I'm free to feel good physically. Could we say
Oh,
that?
okay. I'm free to feel good physically.
And take a few moments and anticipate what that would feel like.
Ugh.
Relief.
Yeah, that would feel really good.
Let's do I'm free to feel relief.
I'm free to feel relief.
Relieved. Relief. Relief.
I know how that feels.
Good. Very good. So that is the beginning of how we shift our thoughts. As we shift our thoughts, it turns out that this whole universe is simply a mirror of what we are emitting. So as we shift how we feel, watch as things around you shift. I was just with a client before this, and we don't really know exactly what happened, but his right leg ballooned up, and it turned out that he had discovered a cyst on his bone, and then he had some kind of lymphedema or something. So his whole leg was 1.5 times the size of his other, and so we actually started doing some of these exercises, and literally in a matter of maybe 20 minutes, wasn't 20 seconds, but within 20 minutes, when he got up, you could see it had shrunk. It had shrunk to like 3/4 the size.
Wow.
So we are capable of way more than we realize. For now, I realize you're hearing just a guy talking about this. You don't really know me. But what I like to say is you are attracting me telling you this. Whether I've lost my mind or not, you are attracting some person telling you that this might be possible. So perhaps there is something to what I'm sharing. That's why I'm a big fan of the law of attraction. I feel everyone would benefit from understanding how laws of the universe work, because it's like learning how to use a DVD player. Who here had a DVD player and just started automatically using it without reading the manual? Did anyone do that, or did you have to read through a manual, have to learn how to use it, right? It's the same with a lot of technology. We have to learn how it works. And so the law of attraction is a way to learn how this universe works and how to operate within it. And that's why I'm such a big fan of learning the law of attraction. And Ask It and Is Given is a very easy way to do that. Let me now go, and Beth, you did amazing.
Thank you.
High five. High five. Okay, let's go to Alice. Thank you for being patient.
Yeah, that's
How about
fine.
for you?
Okay, the reason is because sometimes I think like I get some kind of premonitions, and I don't know whether it's just my imagination or not. I mean, years ago, 26 years ago, I had a premonition through a dream that something was wrong with my breast. I went to my primary care doctor, who luckily didn't blow me off, and she said, "Say no more, Alice, I'm sending you for a bilateral sonogram." And I had had mammograms before and showed nothing. There was nothing, excuse me, nothing palpable, no indication of breast cancer. During the sonogram, something was found. And that happened to me for the breast cancer. And it also happened once I had melanoma on my face. And I went to the dermatologist, and it had none of the characteristics of a melanoma. It was just like a little tiny, tiny dot. And I told the dermatologist about it, and he said it doesn't have any characteristics of anything, and we'll watch it. And then he saw that.
Hang on a sec.
Did you want me to hang on a second?
No,
No, keep
me,
going.
I'm sorry.
Okay, so he saw that blood vessels started to grow toward it. And the next day, that day I had a biopsy, and the next day I was in surgery for a melanoma. So I mean, I don't know. And then there was one other incident. I don't know if you want to hear it, but
You can go.
Well, let's start with that. So what
Okay.
is that? That, believe it or not, that's just our natural way. And we turn that sense off, by the way, for a good reason. There are many things that you don't want to know, believe it or not. And there are some people that I don't have this capability, or I don't have the skill, or I've never used it, but there are people that actually can sense when someone's going to transition. So they can see it in their energy field when they're walking around. So they can literally tell that person's got like 3 days to live. And again, I haven't met anyone like that, but I've heard of them. And there's actually not just one or two of those in the world. There's quite a few. And it's questionable whether you want to know that, you know. So are you wondering, Alice, if that's something you can develop? Is that what you're wondering?
No, I'm just wondering. I'm just wondering how it happens. I don't think I want to develop that because I think
So
it would be. I think it would be a problem just seeing too much. So I don't know.
let me go to this kind of slight off topic but important topic related to what you're asking. When we're born, we are taught who and what we are. So you're immediately taught your name, so you know you're Alice. You know what culture you learn what culture you come from, you learn who your family is, you learn your community, you learn your religion, you learn your politics, and that's all learned. And I'm going to use a stronger word, hypnotized, brainwashed into believing that that's who we are. What if we are way more than that? But we start accepting, because we're babies, we just start accepting what we're told because we're trying to understand how to navigate this world. And if those big people, tall people, our parents or whoever are telling us that this is how life is, well, that's how life is, so we can operate. And so I say this because some of my work is also about letting go some of those programs. And as we let go of some of those programs, we discover who and what we really are. And along with that comes so much profound possibility. And along with that are some of those capabilities you're referring to. I see you, Alice, in an elevated way. So I see you being able to get jolly pretty quickly, to be honest. And if you can enjoy life through eyes of jolly, become Mrs. Santa Claus, your life is good to go forever. And I have a couple clients that are like the husband and wife. They're in their early 70s, and I call them Mr. and Mrs. Santa Claus because they're in joy on virtually all topics. And their life has mirrored that since I've known them. So they're in the best shape of their probably past 30 years. Their hair is going dark again. We're having them do things that they never thought they would be doing. Their wealth is the best it's ever been. There's so many things that are improving for them. And if they had a mindset of there's no way that's possible, I guarantee you they would not be where they are. But because they were open to possibility, they're open to discovering more of who they are, that's the trajectory of their new life. So I'm very excited for you, Alice, because your energy shows to me like some strong joy in there.
Awesome.
Yeah.
I love that. Thank
Thank you.
Yes, hear
You're
me?
welcome.
Okay, I'm on mute. All right, we have someone
I'm
else.
gonna
And
I'm gonna call on Gary.
here we go.
Gary's got me so curious. So excited to hear from Gary. Are you able to remove the mute? Are you able to take your mute off at all?
I pass. Bye.
And Gary, what inspired you to come today before you hang up there? What inspired you to come?
I thought this was a different type of workshop. I thought they were going to explore more of the scientific reasons for near-death experiences. So obviously this isn't it. So I'm confused.
Okay, well that's interesting. So let's chat about that for a few seconds, because that's always interesting. So some of what I would recommend doing is going on to Google or Start Page and searching near-death experience research because there is a ton of it. There are quite a few movies on it as well now. Bruce Lipton, although he's not exactly part of the near-death community, I don't think. Have you heard of him?
No.
You would probably find his material very interesting. He did regressions and discovered that people started remembering, they started regressing into other lifetimes.
Mhm.
And so he has incredible research on that. He's quite a science-based individual.
Oh,
The other individual that you'd find pretty fascinating is Greg Braden. Have you heard of him?
no, Greg.
Greg Braden, Braden.
And who was the first person?
Bruce Lipton.
Bruce Lipton. Okay.
Yeah, Lipton.
Thank you.
You're welcome. And I'm going to add one more component. It's a fun little story. I was living in a 6-story building many years ago, and whenever I would come into the building, I had one elevator, old building, and whenever I would come up to the elevator, the door would open every time, and it was shocking. I didn't know how this was happening, and one day I arrived and the door was closed, and the elevator was on the 6th floor, which was my floor. So I thought I must be in the wrong. I'm out of alignment. I'm not in sync today. I must be out of sync. Well, the elevator came down and the door opens, and who happens to be on the elevator is someone I've been wanting to connect with for 3 months. And it turns out he was visiting his girlfriend, who was my neighbor, and I didn't know that, on the 6th floor. So was I out of sync? Was I in the wrong place or at the wrong time, or was I perhaps in the right place? I just didn't see how that was unfolding. So just a thought, Gary.
Yeah. Okay.
I gotcha.
To be continued, right?
Yeah.
Thank you for sharing, by the way.
Thank you.
Anyone else have a question or comment or insights or something you want to share or explore?
Whenever I have someone attend my workshops, generally what I do at the beginning is I always say, why are you here? What do you want to gain out of the workshop? Insight, clarity, feedback. So I definitely recommend going forward when you attend any workshop, definitely ask yourself, what do I want out of this? What would be great for me to gain? And a part of why that is, most speakers were pretty gracious and we're happy to really give to you more what you want as opposed to what we want to tell you. So, so just an idea when you attend future amazing events with Catherine, because I have to say, Catherine is an incredible being. Her heart is pure and huge. And so her intent is incredible. And so definitely have an idea of what are you wanting. I might call on Alan Powers. You're up. No, he's not up. Okay. He's not up. All right. Okay. That's okay. How about Cheryl?
Okay.
What inspired you to come today?
Curiosity, hoping to learn more on the various topics that were listed in the title.
Okay. Great. Do you feel you've gotten some of that?
Yeah, I still have a lot of curiosity. Still feel there's so much more to learn. And have to understand some of the feelings, some of dreams that feel real, that often involve people who are no longer here and what that all means.
Okay. Would you like some maybe a little quick feedback on that?
Sure.
Yeah. So dreams are generally four things. When we dream, there's 4 things that can be happening. One is it's the subconscious mind working through aspects of our life. And it will show up as many different stories. The subconscious uses symbology, which is why you can go on to, find out what does that animal represent in my dream. Dream interpretation is very common, and that's in that first category. In the second category, all of us, every human, when we go to sleep, a layer of our consciousness comes out of our body, and that's called astral travel. It happens for everyone. And some people remember, they end up actually being awake when they come out of their body. And there are actually, believe it or not, funny courses. Well, they're not funny. It's funny that there's courses that teach you how to actually roll out of your body and move around in the astral plane. It's like another dimension. And many of the people that have transitioned that we're close to, it's very common to meet them in that dimension. But when we're sleeping and we remember that experience with them, it is likely that you became subtly awake while you were sleeping, and that you remembered an interaction with them in the astral world. So you might be curious to research astral travel. A third is really fascinating. A third is past life memories. And I know that when I was 6, I told my mother I used to be a painter. And she said, "Oh, really?" Right. When was that? And I knew that she didn't have the word reincarnation, or I didn't have the word reincarnation in my vocabulary. So I had to say it in a way that she would understand it. So I said to her, before I grew up, grew down, and grew up again. So grew up to be this, like, 85-year-old, 300 pounds, big beard person, to dying, transitioning into nothing, and then growing up into a 5-6-year-old. So that was a way for me to convey that I remembered a past life. So sometimes we actually remember those while we're sleeping. And it can be misinterpreted as a dream, but it's actually a memory. A fourth is the opposite direction. A fourth is a premonition. So sometimes we have visions of the future while we're sleeping. The question many ask is, why in our sleep? Why do these things happen while we're sleeping as opposed to while we're awake? It does happen for some people while we're awake, but for most people it happens while we're asleep, because when we're sleeping, our mind is more at ease, at rest. We have less resistance in our minds. So as a result, we're able to receive more of those visions and sensations while we're sleeping. So that summarizes the 4 different aspects of what dreams can be.
Yeah, it's so interesting. And for me, not that I want to take up a lot of everyone's time, but I'm now in my 15th year of retirement, though I still work as an independent consultant, but my full-time job, this is my 15th year. And I was in education for 40 years. And I served as a teacher, as an administrator. Half and half of my career was in both of those areas. And inevitably, almost every night, and I only know of one other friend and colleague who has the same situation, we still have school dreams. And the school dreams are for and teachers can identify with this,
Oh, yeah.
administrators can identify with this. And it's always and I loved my career. I went from a teacher to a central office administrator, so I did, everything in between. The dreams are always about having to solve a problem. There's a staffing problem. There are materials missing. There are not enough, I don't know, not enough teachers for the class, not enough children for the classrooms. A, a problem with the building, whether it's a physical problem, whatever it is, there's always a problem to solve. And it's almost every single night that I still have those dreams.
Wow.
Okay.
And it confuses me. I
So
don't know why.
yeah, let's do a tiny bit of awareness interpretation here. So generally speaking, emotion, whenever we feel any emotion, that means our system is attempting to release it. So if you feel bored, it means the boredom has come up and your system is attempting to release it. What we tend to do is we tend to grab onto it and then we try to suppress it, or we hang out in it, dwell in it, or we analyze it. The thing that we want to do ideally is let it go. There's a great method for this that I use in my practice. It's my #2 book of all time. It's called the Sedona Method. And the Sedona Method is a book on how to let go of emotions, like dropping a pen out of your hand. And so boredom is one, but let's say, for example, what you're experiencing, Cheryl, is whatever that emotion comes up, it can in dreams pull up stories and experiences related to it. And until you actually let it go, the system is trying to release it, but your system for some reason is still holding on. So that's at least an initial part of understanding why it's happening. Sometimes we miss that time of our life. If we had a great experience, did you have a great teaching experience?
Yeah. I mean, that was many years ago.
Yeah.
The administrative part of it is actually clearer in my mind, and more of what I think about. I think about it, certainly the school year started, so I'm aware of all of the things that go on at this point, but I still work in education. I still work as a consultant, so I haven't divorced myself from the career, but I don't have the responsibilities that I had as a school administrator.
We hold on to two things. We hold on to emotions that feel good and we hold on to emotions that don't feel good. And so if it turns out that that was a high time of your life, it's possible that your system is still holding on to it because it felt good, or it could be the reverse. It could be that you had an awful time, and your system keeps repeating it, attempting to let it go, but not fully letting it go. So that's kind of like the nitty-gritty initial phase of that. If it's repetitive every night, that means your system is really ready. It's on the verge of letting it go, but it's not. So I'm a huge fan of Sedona Method. If you're interested in reading that book or getting there, they have an incredible audio program that I'd recommend. If I were to make a recommendation without you reading the book, what's the fastest, quickest, most effective way to let go of this? Here's a way to do it. You ready?
I am.
Okay. Do you want to keep having them or no?
I mean, I don't mind having them because I can usually solve the problem.
Right.
It's just the focus of dreams most of the time. I do have
Okay.
other dreams that I'm aware of dreaming every night. I wake up aware of some dream that I've had. 9 out of 10 are school related. I don't mind them. I just don't understand why after my 15th year, they're still happening.
We hold on to emotion our whole life. Our whole life. Unless you let it go, we hold on to it forever. It gets turned into our subconscious. So all of our subconscious mind is everything we don't want to look at, basically, and everything we want to hold on to. And so unless we go in and scoop it out and let it go, it stays suppressed. So if in this situation, specific one, when Cheryl's having this happen almost every day, the one thing that I would do here, and I'm tuning in with you, I hope that's okay. Okay. So before you go to bed, decide, if you're okay with it, that you're going to let it go instead of hold on to it and have it repeat. So you're literally intentionally saying to yourself, I am now at peace with letting go of these recurrences. And then can you sit back in your chair for a sec?
Sure.
Take a deep breath in and hold it. Breathe in. And hold it. And keep holding it. When you breathe out, we want to hear a sigh. It'll sound like, and let it go. Okay, pretty good on your first shot. So I would definitely recommend but when you go to bed tonight, tell yourself it's okay to let these go. And then breathe in, hold it for as long as you can, breathe out, let the breath go. You don't have to think about the emotion, and then let's see what happens tomorrow.
Okay.
And the day after, and
I
the
will
day
give it a
after.
try.
Okay.
Oh, this is
Thank you.
wonderful. I think so many of us can apply that technique. I know for myself, I've had a recurring dream that's been a little annoying, so I'm gonna try that myself.
Let me give you one more, and then I know where you're headed. So the other thing, this is specifically for Catherine, and maybe for others as well. But sometimes when you know the saying, "Whatever you resist persists."
Mhm. Yeah.
So if you put your hands together like you're going to pray, we're not going to pray, but everyone put your hands together if you would, and just push on your hands. Push like calisthenics. So if you do this for long enough, 30 seconds, you're going to be really tired.
Mm.
So now instead of doing this, let your hands just relax and just go side to side. Okay? You could do this for a lot longer. Okay, you can let your hands go. This is resistance. Let's pretend that your mind is on the left and your emotions are on your right. Your emotions are feeling a certain way and your mind is resisting your emotions. So that's where we get inner resistance. And this is what tires us. This also creates kind of a not so great life when we have this resistance going on. We actually want this. And what this represents is, I feel this way. It's okay to feel that way. And then we're just going side to side. We're at ease. So why am I bringing this up? Because when you are having a nightmare or a consistent dream that is not feeling very good, what we tend to want to do is squash it, get rid of it, and we resist it. But if you can actually welcome it,
And then let it go.
it should disappear on its own.
Wow.
You shift from resisting to receiving.
Okay.
Let's talk to Gary for a secon again. Gary's like, oh God, he's picking on me again. I'm not picking on you, I promise. But this is good news I'm going to share. So if you ever attend a workshop and it's not what you expected, hypothetically, what you can do, that was a joke. I don't know if you got that. Okay.
Keep your day job.
Okay, I will. Thank you. Thank you. That you got a heart emoji in real life. That's like, yeah, that's very sweet. That's one of the kindest things anyone's ever said that way. That's very funny. That's very sweet. So what you can do is realize that if the workshop is not what you wanted and it's not going as you want, notice if you're resisting it then, because the best thing you can do is welcome it and see what shows up. And perhaps it would turn into the most profound workshop you've ever attended, or maybe it gives you a reference that you never would have got anywhere else. So we turn that resistance into receiving.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, thank you.
That's from heart to heart, soul to soul, light to light.
Heart to heart. Okay.
You got it.
Well,
Thank you, Gary.
I just want to jump in and say thank you so much. This has been amazing. I'm so happy that you've been our first speaker to start off the fall semester here at our Ollie class, and I look forward to seeing you more and in different capacities with different groups and stuff. So, all right.
What's
So
Joshua's last name?
Joshua.
Zuchter.
Yeah, what?
Zuchter.
And
Okay.
how do you say it, Joshua?
Zuchter.
Some people say Zuchter, but most can't pronounce the h. So Zuchter is just fine.
Zuchter. All right.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you, Joshua, so much for being here today. And everybody, thank you for being here. Thank you for your curiosity and being brave and for your questions. And yeah, it's been wonderful. And I look forward to next week. And I'll send you out an email about our speaker for next week. And have a great week, everybody. Many blessings.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Catherine. Thank you, Joshua.
Thank you very much.
Thank
You're
you.
welcome.
Thank you.
Bye, everyone.
Thank you very
Bye.
much.
Bye, Joshua.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye, Catherine.
Bye. Bye. Gary, I hope you come back.
I will.
All right. Keep your mind open, Gary. It's all good. It's all good. All right.
Okay.
Bye, guys.
How old is
Going on?
Josh?
I don't know.
What was that question?
How old are you, Josh? You said you were doing age reversal.
But
You
how
look
long
like
does
my
it look?
nephew that I found after 40 years.
How
How
old does it
old-
look?
Yeah, how old do you think I am?
Probably about 36.
Oh my
That's-
God. See,
That's a pretty
Josh,
good guess.
you're
That's a
working.
pretty good guess. Any
Josh
other
is
guesses?
working it.
Do I hear 34, 35, 34, 35?
I love it. I love it.
I'm actually 51.
Yeah.
Holy moly macrolandy. Well,
I know, right? That age reversal thing. There's something to that.
where can you guys direct me to the law of attraction? How do I go about attracting wellness and good health and more positive energy?
So my first suggestion is if we're
Number 10?
if we're talking about law of attraction, then it's really actually the best way to go is just first buy the book, Ask and It Is Given, and start
Okay.
reading that. And then you can also, once you start reading that, if you go onto YouTube and you type in Abraham Hicks health, Abraham Hicks disease, you'll see literally hundreds of videos by them where they're discussing how to shift our mindset around health on this.
Right.
And so that's one, if we're talking about, vibration and energy.
Right.
That was great. Thank you, Josh. I so appreciate you being here
Uh,
with this today. It was wonderful.
You're very welcome. My pleasure. Thanks for having me.